Hello everyone, welcome to the Buzz the Prey Manga. Today we continue the latest Global Freeze chapter, rewritten and edited by me in English for a smooth reading experience. All visuals and story flow are personally edited to give you the best manga style storytelling. Support the original creator by checking the official manga. So let's dive right into the today's chapter.
Chapter 2630 Won the Treasure of Mars 1. Zhang Yi raised an eyebrow. A portion? How much of a portion? That was an ambiguous concept. A joyful smile spread across his face as he said to Eve, "Excellent. With your generosity, our race's 16 billion people can escape the enormous energy crisis. On their behalf, I express my heartfelt gratitude to you." Eve shook her head, saying, "The resources I control are only a small part." She looked up, gazing upwards. "The highest authority in the heavenly tower is not held by me. It belongs to another, my symbiote." Ever since Zhang Yi entered the heavenly tower, he had felt a faint, yet unseen, gaze upon him. A time manipulation ability user's perception is extremely sharp. Any spying would be detected. "Who are you talking about?" "The creator of these mechanical life forms. His name is Adam." Eve looked at the mechanical life forms. Zhang Yi could easily spot hundreds of different types with a single glance. Adam and I were created by a collective consciousness of mechanical life forms. But since then, no matter what we do, we can no longer create anything like us. After winning the war against the Sand Raiders, we spent countless years experimenting, but ultimately failed. Adam's obsession was even stronger than mine. He wanted to create a race composed of machines, capable of thought, emotion, and reproduction, just like humans. Every mechanical life form that appears here is his experiment. But because it wasn't perfect, he abandoned them all. Zhang Yi understood now. "So, it was you who gathered them together and gave them a home." Eve nodded. "He has more resources from the Sand Raider civilization. But I advise you not to go looking for him, because his temperament is not as gentle as mine." Zhang Yi didn't turn around immediately, but glanced at the mechanical kingdom again. "Do you mind if I take some of your resources?" "As long as it doesn't disrupt the balance," Eve replied. "As long as you don't intend to turn this place into a new battlefield." "I will keep my promise," Zhang Yi said earnestly, then added, "on behalf of our 16 billion Earthlings. Anyway, we have a large population. You wouldn't feel comfortable giving too little, would you?" Eve led Zhang Yi to a corner of the mechanical kingdom. Hidden among dense bushes and thorns, he found a warehouse that had been sealed for many years. Just as Eve said, having chosen peaceful coexistence, their need for energy was not great. Eve stepped forward and opened the enormous warehouse. "How do you plan to store the necessary resources?" She turned to Zhang Yi and asked. Zhang Yi replied, "I am a space-type ability user. I can store these resources in my space." Eve smiled faintly. "Then I hope your space is large enough." "Sorry, chapter content loading error. Unable to load chapter content or refresh page." "Sorry, there was an error loading the chapter content. We were unable to successfully load the chapter or refresh the page." The rare materials and energy resources of the entire planet, even if she only possessed a small portion, were still incredibly abundant. However, what she didn't know was that the volume of Zhang Yi's alternate dimension was even more astonishing. The warehouse door opened, as if revealing a unique kingdom where mechanical life forms had mastered spatial technology. Zhang Yi's vision was filled with light. He saw a vast amount of stored, extremely high-quality energy crystals and various well-preserved resources. Golden stellar fragments, deep blue psionic cubes, nanomatrices flashing with sequence characters, solidified space minerals, and even entire floating antimatter belts. Dazzling, far more astonishing than the largest resource deposits Zhang Yi had ever seen before. Hundreds of times more than the combined resources of all 6 generations of all kingdoms. At this moment, Zhang Yi finally understood why they believed Earth possessed abundant fossil fuels and various resource deposits, which ancient civilizations disdained, leaving them for future generations to exploit. because advanced civilizations could already achieve interstellar travel and obtain energy resources from the universe. Let's begin, Eve said softly. Zhang Yi didn't hesitate for a moment, immediately opening the resource gate. 3,000 enormous doors opened simultaneously, forming a massive passageway within the warehouse. Countless streams of energy were drawn from the depths of the tower walls, like unlocked river channels, flowing continuously into the netherworld node and various energy storage modules that Zhang Yi had activated, guided by Eve. The mechanical kingdom deep within the forest silently cooperated, sending the strategic reserves originally prepared for war by the Sand Raider civilization billions of years ago to Zhang Yi's spatial gate. It wasn't a warehouse of a single city, but rather the essence of the entire Mars, carefully selected before its sealing. Eve said this was only a small part of the Sand Raider legacy, but even this small part was exaggerated in quantity and quality to the point of being almost absurd. The resource list scrolled rapidly on Yang Xinxin's terminal, and Lu Karen's eyes had already lit up like two beams of light. "Brother Zhang Yi," she said, lowering her voice to try and sound calm, "as long as we bring these back, even if we maintain a state of war, we can at least sustain our military-industrial system for tens of thousands of years without worry. Central energy, core materials for the fleet, a superdimensional computing foundation. We can even rebuild something even more extravagant than the Sky-Sea Fortress. Besides realizing the physical construction of the Sand Raider civilization technology we obtained, we can also showcase the technology left behind by that engineer from the Aihen clan." Yang Xinxin continued, her gaze calm, yet unable to suppress the shock in her heart. Zhang Yi stood on the observation platform inside the heavenly tower, watching the netherworld rift swallow torrents of energy. His void-bathing robe rippled slightly against his skin. The formless realm cleanly separated the passage from the outside world, preventing any accidents during the process. A poor man suddenly rich. He now felt that the meager resources he had acquired over the years were laughable. No wonder, even with the entire power of the Huashu kingdom, it could only unlock a tiny fraction of Ling's power. The Aihen race at its peak must have gathered all the energy and matter in the universe to create monsters like the Four Knights. He remained silent for a long time, his original plan to climb the tower and question atoms slowly shifting in the face of this overwhelming abundance of resources. Eve looked at him quietly. "You've taken enough," she said gently. "This will help you fight against higher-level calamities. I imagine Adam isn't very happy about what you've done," Zhang Yi said casually, "but I'm not too concerned about his feelings right now." Chapter 2630, To the Treasure of Mars 2. "I advise you not to provoke that guy. He's gone mad. He's a lunatic who can't be judged by common sense," Eve advised. Resource input reached its safe limit, and the netherworld node slowly closed. The light deep within the heavenly tower dimmed slightly, as if it had lost some blood, yet it continued to operate smoothly. For these mechanical life forms, they didn't pursue force, so they didn't need such a massive amount of resources. Imagine if, from the beginning of creation, the Creator had set rules allowing only each generation of humans to use clubs as weapons. Perhaps there wouldn't have been so many out-of-control civilizations. Then, would there be a day in the future, after generations of evolution, when one generation of humans, like the mechanical life forms created by the Sand Slayers, rebel against the Creator? Zhang Yi's eyes were lowered, his mind filled with endless reverie. But quickly, Zhang Yi turned around and nodded to Eve. "On behalf of my race, I express my heartfelt gratitude to you. Please remember my name, Chaos. If one day you need my help, I will do everything in my power. This is my promise." Zhang Yi's promise was solemn. "Leave." Eve raised her hand, opening a path for them to leave the inner world. "I hope that when we meet again, you will have obtained the future you desire." The dimensional gate unfolded inside the tower, like a black pupil that had been cut open. Outside was the familiar dim sky of the Martian inner world. The outline of the city of yellow sand floated far at the edge of their vision, and the artificial star hung high, its light seemingly dimmer than when they arrived. Zhang Yi and the others showed no lingering attachment. nor did they continue to explore the higher levels of the Heavenly Tower. There were too many unknown areas in this world, and they were not curious children. It was better to avoid trouble. The group stepped into the gate one by one, leaving the controlled area of the Heavenly Tower directly. Just as they stepped out of the shadow radiated by the Heavenly Tower, a sense of unease suddenly arose in Zhang Yi's heart. His Taishu bathrobe trembled slightly, and the second hand of time turned on its own deep within his left eye, unfolding the scene of the next 5 seconds. Space rippled slightly across the distant sky. A tall, slender white figure emerged from the folds. The person was exceptionally tall, his white battle armor reaching his boots, the hem fluttering even without wind. His long, silvery white hair cascaded down to his heels, the ends intertwining with the shimmering light of space, each strand appearing as if it were a flowing particle. His features were handsome and his expression aloof, like a god descended from a mythological mural, except for a hint of clarity in his eyes, carrying an intensely rational, icy curiosity. His flawless appearance, too perfect for nature, was also striking. He was almost indistinguishable from Zhang Yi and the others, possessing an aura nearly identical to Eve's. This immediately made Zhang Yi realize the person's identity. Another being within the collective consciousness born from the Martian mechanical life forms, the sky god, Adam. His toes touched the void, no energy leaking out, yet the rules of the entire space slightly concave towards him. Living beings, intelligent beings. He uttered softly, looking at Zhang Yi and the others, as if tasting rain after a long drought. The voice wasn't loud, yet it clearly resonated throughout the dome of this entire world. The last time I encountered beings like you was 26 years ago, the white-robed man said slowly. Those humans who landed on Mars were of such poor quality that they all became unusable after a short time. We didn't obtain much useful data. Freeman froze, a fleeting message on the screen betraying his shock. There were over 200 pioneers who accompanied him to Mars back then. Sorry, there was an error. Loading the chapter content. We were unable to successfully load the chapter or refresh the page. In less than 3 months, they all disappeared. They encountered many bizarre events during that time. Because of his transferred memories, he had created a mechanical body for himself, thus escaping disaster. Those he brought with him, it seems, are all dead. And they died at the hands of this guy right before them. You despicable bastard. Did you kill my companions? Freeman roared angrily at the man in the sky. The man in white glanced at him, seemingly uninterested in explaining. And you humans who came this time, his gaze returned to Zhang Yi and the others, his eyes growing brighter, have complex abilities, excellent etheric compatibility, and strong mental fortitude. You are excellent experimental subjects. Zhang Yi simply stared coldly at him, sword in hand, blocking everyone's path, ready for battle at any moment. We have no ill intentions, we just came to find some resources. We will leave immediately, and we hope you will not obstruct our way. Adam chuckled, slowly narrowing his eyes. Have you forgotten how you got here? Zhang Yi didn't speak, just kept staring at him. Of course they had fought their way here, and Adam had seen it all. But Zhang Yi was always thick-skinned and lacked any sense of shame, so he wasn't embarrassed at all. Those were just misunderstandings. I think we can get along peacefully, Zhang Yi said sincerely. Let me introduce myself. Adam seemed completely unconcerned about what Zhang Yi and the others were saying. He simply raised his hand elegantly and tapped his chest. My name is Adam, the ruler of Mars. By your earthly standards, my combat power index is 73,000 points. The air seemed to turn icy. 73,000 points. Liangyang couldn't help but murmur softly, her pupils contracting before slowly returning to normal. 73,000 points, queen level. The most powerful opponent they had ever encountered. Even the Abyss Clan and Nightmare Clan powerhouses they faced at the previous all-races negotiation conference were only at this level. Even though Zhang Yi's abilities have evolved, the difference in combat power between him and his opponent is still over 10,000 points. How can they deal with such an enemy? Fatty Sue clicked his tongue subconsciously. Boss, this guy's reporting numbers pretty aggressively. Zhang Yi sighed and asked him, Can we not fight? Fight. Adam looked puzzled. How can insects fight humans? This isn't a battle, it's just one-sided control. Adam looked at Zhang Yi and the others like they were talking experimental equipment. He didn't consider them equal beings at all. Being my test subjects is an honor for you. He suddenly sighed. Come with me. I haven't spoken to anyone in a long time. There was one before, but that guy doesn't want to talk to me anymore. Here we end today's chapter. I hope you liked it. Kindly do also subscribe to my gaming channel. I have to Fina a way to survive. Thanks.
Alright, that's it for today's chapter. Tell me in the comments which part you enjoyed the most. If you love manga style stories, don't forget to like the video and subscribe the Buzz Play Manga. See you in the next chapter with more surprises. Thank you.